Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This week I bought a cheap GTX 460 for the super budget PC that I'm preparing to build. And the question now is this $28 GPU even gonna work? Keep watching to find out. With Valorant not being very demanding, I've seen other tech tubers benchmark the game on very low-end hardware and was still able to get very playable frames, with a couple of tweaks in the settings of course. I guess this video will serve as the intro to the project I'm working on, which is the super budget Valorant streaming PC. The fact that the game is becoming more and more popular led me to an idea of building a really budget PC that can not just play the game, but also stream it. It might be a bit of a tall order for the specs that I have in mind, but I'm willing to bet my money on it. Will it be worth it? Well, in terms of the excitement that I get with just thinking about the project, I'd say yes. So feel free to subscribe so you'll be updated when that video comes out. Now let's get into this GPU. So this is the GTX 460 GPU that was released back in 2010. For the brand, however, of this card that I was able to get, I'm not really sure about it. I've never heard of this brand, RexTech, and just by looking at their website, yeah, it looks really weird and sketchy. Yeah, this is the first time I've heard of this brand, but before judging it, let's dive into a couple of games and test its performance. For the test that we're going to be doing, it's partnered with a Ryzen 5 2600 and 16GB of DDR4. So the bottleneck of this test will come from the GPU. By the way, all tests are done in 720p for now since I'm waiting on the cable I ordered for this card to work on my 1080p monitor. First we have Battlefield 1 with all settings set to low and resolution scale set to 60%. Having an average FPS of 57 and 1% low of 40, this card is a good deal for you if you don't mind sacrificing quality for FPS. Now the numbers may drop a bit as you progress to more demanding stages of the game, so keep that in mind. Next we have PUBG with everything on low. We got an average of 39 FPS and 1% low of 14. The 1% low mainly occurs whenever I open up my inventory. I apologize for the quality of this video by the way, it didn't appear like that when I was testing it and it was still a bit of a playable experience. I even got a kill and then I died like a noob. I also tried the 2013 Tomb Raider with the settings cranked up to high. Getting an average of 80 and 1% low of 56, this card held up pretty well considering being from 2010. And speaking of being from 2010, Far Cry 5 from 2018 made the card beg for mercy. With every possible setting set to the lowest, the GTX 460 was only able to dish out an average FPS of 23 with a 1% low of 19. I'm starting to have doubts if I should even try testing this game in 1080p. Next up is the famous multiplayer online battle arena Dota 2. Being a game that I used to love, I had to try this out. And I should say, Valve has definitely made this game more optimized compared to the first time I was able to play it back in 2011. With the highest settings, I was able to get an average FPS of 74 and a 1% low of 58. I think the settings could be lowered a bit, just to make sure you don't get any frame drops during the teamfights. Next we have CSGO running at high settings. We're able to get an average FPS of 74 and a 1% low of 44. Sadly, no matter how good the FPS was, my aim was still dog poop. And then I almost forgot about this game, GTA 5. I tried customizing the settings a bit with the texture, shadow, and particle quality on high and the rest of the settings on normal. I was able to get an average of 67 FPS and a 1% low of 45. By just looking at my sick driving skills, you can tell that this is a very playable experience. Until the card decided to drift off course and led me to kick the crap out of it. Moving on, we got Fortnite. I was able to record the average FPS in 1% low, but for some reason the FPS counter or the on-screen display wasn't showing up in the screen capture, so you just have to take my word on it. I had the settings at the lowest preset, but was able to max out the 3D resolution up to 100, which gave me a better gaming experience. With an average FPS of 66 and 1% low of 36, I was able to own some noobs and pretty much had a blast. That is until I was reminded why I hated Fortnite. Lastly, we have Valorant, the main game that we want to play on this card. Having everything set to high, I'm impressed with the results having consistent 60 FPS above, averaging an FPS of 115 with a 1% low of 62. This is a good sign that the game will also do well in 1080p, but I think of course with a couple of tweaks in the settings. I'm really curious to find out how the performance will differ once I pair it with the specs that I have in mind. I'll update you guys once I have the parts ready to go. With the results that we had, is this card worth getting in 2020? Well, the answer to that will entirely depend on what games you want to play. If you mainly play esports titles like Dota 2, League of Legends, Valorant, and CSGO, then at the price point of 1,390 pesos or $28, it would make sense to get this card. I wouldn't recommend it for games like Apex Legends and Warzone. I wasn't even able to try Warzone on this and gave up after several failed attempts at troubleshooting the issue. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't so you'll be updated when the budget Valorant PC video is up, and I'll see you guys on the next one.